Well, hello, you lovely chaps, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Crime Ghoul. I'm Brittany, usually a podcast host, but for now, I'm going to start making YouTube videos because I know a bunch of you love visuals. A lot of my listeners have said, hey, are you going to, dive more into your YouTube channel? I know you have YouTube. And I was like, you know what? I have COVID right now, and I've got nothing else better to do, so why the hell not? So here we are, and today, my first episode is going to be all about the Chandler Halderson case. Halderson? Don't know if I'm saying that right. But anyway, if you guys are really into the true crime community, you probably have heard of Chandler Halderson. And boy, this trial is ongoing and it is nuts. It's crazy. I'm actually getting hot. I'm getting hot talking about it. I'm going to ditch the jacket. Screw it. We're not doing this. I love leather. Faux leather, I should say. But I do love leather, but I'm sweating. Your girl's sweating. So today's episode's crazy. Let's get to it. I'm so not used to filming YouTube videos, but hey, here we are. We're all learning. We're all going to be nice. I'm a little strange. I like my crazy, wacky sunglasses. So yeah, on my channel, I do what I want because it's my channel. Okay. So yeah. Okay, I can't do this. I have anxiety. So yeah, these are really cool retro sunglasses actually, and I will link them down below if you're interested in getting them. I might not rock them, but you sure probably do. So, Chandler, who's our boy? Okay, crazy. So let me get my coffee because I need some coffee up in here. So Chandler, okay. Chandler is a 23-year-old boy from somewhere in Wisconsin. Yes, the town is important. Do I suck for not remembering? Yes, but I digress. We're here to hear about a crime case. Yes, it's important, geographical location, whatever. I can't remember it, so you're gonna have to look it up. Anyway, I suck. So, yeah, we could call this a half-assed true crime video. So, Chandler, 23 years old, he's from Wisconsin. He's this successful college student from Madison College, which is in Wisconsin. And it's a community college. He has been there for 3 years, and his dad's like, dude, when are you graduating? And keeps telling his dad, I have one more class to take. I thought I took all my credits and everything, but now the school's telling me I have all these classes to take that I didn't know about. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck in school right now, whatever. So in the meantime, Chandler has a girlfriend of 2 years named Catherine. She goes by Kat. Super cute couple. And she's around the same age. She also went to Madison College. Yada, yada, yada. So, allegedly, Chandler's telling everybody that he's studying renewable resource engineering. Mouthful. But yeah, solar panels, stuff like that, you get the picture. So, he also has said, despite me being successful working at American People Insurance Company, I just got offered a job at SpaceX. Super cool. Elon Musk going to space. Okay, let's do it. So yeah, he's going to SpaceX, doing all these amazing, crazy things. And his family is super proud of him, but, Dad's got a couple of concerns. He's been working for an insurance company for over a year, has no money. Every time Dad's asking him, where's your money? There's always an answer. There's always a reason why he has no money. So really, Chandler has said, well, the insurance company was supposed to be paying me salary because I'm a salary guy, but now they're paying me hourly, so they're withholding my checks. They've got to get that fixed up, whatever. And this goes over for a course of months, okay? Not not all in one go. But that's the first, excuse. Yeah, they're holding my checks until they make them right. Whatever. Then the next time Dad checks in, it's a direct deposit issue. Oh, I gave them the wrong direct deposit. That's the issue. So once I get that straightened out, I should get my money. So then you fast forward, and that happens. He puts in his direct deposit, still no money. Dad's like, dude, what's going on? Oh, well, Dad, I had all that money deposited into my bank account, and, it was just such a large amount of money they owed me. The bank actually, stopped the payment because they're like, this is a large amount in, a negative bank account. No, it's probably not negative. It was probably zero, whatever. Or had little to no money at all. But I digress. So, yeah, the money got kicked out, whatever. Dad's like, all right, whatever. Now, what's going on with school? Oh, well, I'm one class away from getting my certificate, and I applied to SpaceX, and by chance, I got the job. They accepted me. I just need my certificate, yada, yada, yada. SpaceX, big deal, okay? That is, an engineer's dream is to work SpaceX. So he's getting his certificate, apparently going to SpaceX. Dad's like, okay, well, you got a couple of things you need to take care of before then. So, whatever. Long story short, Dad's name is Bart Halderson. His wife's name is KRISTA Halderson. That's Mom and Dad. And then there's big brother Mitchell, who's 25 years old, out of the house, has a successful life, is engaged, all this great stuff, has a home. Yeah, he's doing great. Don't remember his job, but anyway. So that's the story. This is the family dynamic we have going on. Dad's an accountant. I think Mom works for the schools. Yes, something like that. She works for the schools. I know, I'm half-ass. I don't know, I'm kind of nervous because I'm making a YouTube video. So, COVID fog? Anyway, so yeah, that's the story and what have you. So we fast forward to about June 31st and Bart's kind of fed up. He feels bad. His older son was just diagnosed with diabetes, so that was a whole conniption in itself. They spent a lot of time at the hospital being there for him. And then a week later, right after that, Chandler falls down the stairs, hits his head really bad, ends up having a severe concussion. Chandler goes to the doctor. They say, yeah, you've got a severe concussion, you've got a hematoma, you have a brain bleed, you have to wear this neck brace, like, you have nerve damage, all this crazy stuff. Like, oh my God, this was a bad fall. So Bart and KRISTA have been through the ringer at this point. They're just like, what the heck is happening? Both our boys, like, have like some health things going on. Who knows what's going to happen with Chandler? He can't really move his legs too much or do too much on his own. He has to like probably go to physical therapy and all this other stuff to try to get like reacquainted with his daily routine, get back on track. So yeah, that's that story. So fast forward to June 31st and Bart's had enough with the excuses from Chandler. He's just like, okay, something's got to give. My poor kid just fell down the stairs. He doesn't know what's going to happen with his future career. The school that he's been going to for 3 years, that should have been a 2-year thing, is like not helping him get his transcripts, not telling him what program he's like enrolled in, all this crazy stuff. Like, that still doesn't make sense, which, mind you, we're missing a lot of the pieces of this puzzle, but this is like the information that's available online, and you know, the trial's currently going on, so I have like fragments of information. We don't have the whole picture and probably won't for a really long time, but that's that. So Bart's like, that's it. I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to pretend to be Chandler and I'm going to get answers for my kid. So he calls Madison County Community College and he's just like, hi, my name's Chandler Halderson. I'm 23 years old. I'm currently enrolled in, I think, this program. But if that's the case, like, I should have enough credits to graduate and I've been with the school for 3 years and so on. So this phone call to this advisor at the school or customer service representative is recorded for customer service training at the school. So luckily we have a recorded audio from Bart pretending to be Chandler, which really gives us a crap ton of information. So he gets on the phone with the advisor and he's like explaining his story. He's getting a little annoyed because of course he's angered for his kid. Like, he thinks his kid should be graduating and is getting the runaround. So there's that. So needless to say, the advisor says, well, Chandler, like, unfortunately, you're not going to be graduating for a long time because you've only attended this school for 1 semester. That was like almost 3 years ago and you failed out. Like, you flunked all your classes. Like, you've got a long way to go. Like, I think you might be confused, like, so on and so forth. And of course his dad's like, it all just hits him, I'm sure. Like, wow, my kid's been lying. Like, uh-oh. So then he asks a couple of questions because it turns out that Bart has been like hounding his son a lot, like just trying to stay on top of it like a good dad would. And Chandler started sending him email communications that he was having with advisors and counselors at school, proving like, Dad, I'm trying to like get the help I need and this is what they're sending me. So there's like hundreds of communication between Chandler and Madison County College, allegedly, that he had been sending to his dad. So the dad's like scrolling through the emails on his phone and he's talking to the advisor or the representative and is like, okay, can I just ask you a question? Can you tell me if these like advisors or reps work at the school? So he lists off like 4 or 5 names and the guy, I think his name is Omar, is on the phone with Dad and is like, no, like, I'm sorry, but like there's nobody by those names who work at the school, like, you know. And I'm sure Bart's like, what the hell is going on? Has my kid been lying to me this whole time? So he's just like, okay, that'll be all. That's all I need, like, whatever. And they hang up, and that's it. So right away, Bart texts Chandler and is like, I just got off the phone with Madison County College. I'm sure right away Chandler knows what this is about. He's been caught in a lie. He hasn't been going to school. He's not on the verge of graduating. So I'm sure we could infer that maybe he's not being truthful in other aspects of his life either. So, there's that. So yeah, we don't really know too much of what happens. I'm just going to give you, like, the best breakdown I can. But the next day, Bart texts Chandler, like, we have a meeting with the school at 3 p.m. today, be ready. So it's July 1st at this point. So, you know, like, okay, whatever. The day is going on. The day begins for Chandler with him texting Kat, and he's just like, you know, like, I didn't sleep at all last night. I couldn't sleep. I had plans for the future. Everything's falling apart. Now, allegedly, he had told Catherine, like, they were moving to Florida so he could go work for SpaceX, and she was totally on board. There's not enough information about her life and, like, what was going on at this point, but I'm sure she probably was packing up, ready to go to Florida. Maybe, like, put in her notice for her job. They were supposed to be, like, moving to Florida by, like, the end of July. So, you know, like, I'm sure she was planning for that. And Chandler had told her, like, you know, he already secured an apartment for them. He had already paid, like, the first month's rent. It was waiting for them down in Florida, and that he already bought them a car so they can travel there. The whole nine. And Kat's mom even offered to give them her car. Like, kids, you can have my car, I'll buy a new car. You take my car, you guys are going to go start your life. Like, it's okay. Like, a gem. So, I think her name is Dolce, or, yeah, Dolce or Dulce. We'll go with Dulce. That sounds right. So, that's Catherine's mom. So, they already have all these plans, and I guess Chandler just sees things slipping through his hands, and, you know, he's not telling Kat the truth. So, he just says, like, you know, all these things are happening, my plans for the future are falling through, like, everything's just shot to hell at this point. So she's there for him like a good girlfriend would be, and he ends up texting her a little later, and it's like, you know, my parents are going up to the cabin. They have a cabin. They own a cabin somewhere near Wisconsin. So he tells Kat, like, they're going there for the weekend, the 4th of July weekend. They're going with their friends, yada, yada, yada. Like, maybe you could spend the night a few nights, what have you. So we're getting closer to 3 p.m. on July 1st when Bart texts his son, like, at 2 o'clock, I'm ready when you are, you know, insinuating ready to go to the school. Okay. So we don't know too much about what transpired, but we can only guess that something set Chandler off because he would end up killing his father. He shot him 3 times, allegedly. There could be more, but we'll get to that later. But what we do know for factual information is that he shot his dad 3 times in the back with a foreign assault rifle. And it's a German rifle. Yes, German. I think German. Anyway, so he shoots him with that in the back. Dad's dead. So he noticed his mom is texting his dad's phone and everything, so I'm sure he's, like, panicking, and he tells his mom, KRISTA, like, hey, Mom, like, Dad's phone died. If you need him, just text or call me. So, also he says, he doesn't even ask. He's just like, stop on your way home to pick up soda, like, delaying her time, I guess. And then, what have you, KRISTA rolls up at the house around, like, 5:45, 6 o'clock, from what we could see on a neighbor's Ring camera, and she never leaves her house again that we know of, or that is seen on the Ring camera. So, Chandler kills Mom as well. I'm sure she found out. We don't know what ensued in that house, and I really wish we did, because I still have so many questions. I'm sure older brother Mitchell has so many questions. Their family, friends must have so many questions. But we don't really know what happened in there. We just know that something really dark and sinister happened, and Chandler killed his parents. And I'm sure it's because his dad had figured out and had unweaved his web of lies and was like, what are you doing? Like, how did this happen? How did this lie become this lie and that lie and that lie? So, Mom and Dad are dead. He tells friends and Catherine, like, and Catherine's mom, Dulce, that his parents went to the cabin for 4th of July weekend, whatever. So he invites Catherine over the next day, and Catherine comes in the house or whatever. She plans to stay the night. It's July 2nd. into the 3rd, and she plans to stay the night, and he's just like, you know, on your way home, well, on your way over, can you just stop and buy a Swiffer and some hydrogen peroxide? I cut my toe. Whatever. Her being the good girlfriend she is, she does, and when she arrives to the house, she realizes a couple of weird things. There's like this smoky smell in the house, and she's like, what is that smell? And he's just like, oh, me and Rufus, the family dog, one of the family dogs, me and Rufus were playing catch, and the ball went right through the fireplace glass, you know, the glass in front of a fireplace. It broke the glass and shattered, and the ball went in there, and all the smoke came into the house, and it just smells horrible. I had to clean it, like, whatever. I spent a lot of time cleaning. Oh, yeah. He spent a lot of time cleaning, because it turns out that whole night before the morning of July 2nd, on July 1st, when everything went down, he dismembered his parents' bodies. Yeah. He, sliced and diced, if you know what I'm saying. Very upsetting. Just awful. So you can tell what kind of sick, twisted mind we have here. And he used things around the house like an axe, bandsaws, scissors, like absolutely horrifying stuff. And I don't have to go any further into detail with that. I'm pretty sure we can all use our imagination. But he does that to kind of get rid of his parents. And he does this and makes it so they're in these little pieces so he can burn them to ash in the fireplace. Well, clearly little Chandler wasn't a big crime buff like us in the true crime community, because if he was, he would have known that you can't just burn a body in fire. And if you guys didn't know that, well, I taught you nothing and you heard nothing from me. But it's true, you can't just burn a body in a home fireplace or even like a fire pit in the backyard. The temperature needs to be excruciating hot in order to burn a body and bone into ash. And even then, like, it's difficult, and that's what a crematorium is for. It gets to a certain temperature to be able to do those things. So, needless to say, Chandler had a really disturbing night, I'm sure, as he realized that all the fat that comes from the human body ignites, you know, not good. So the fire was just getting bigger and bigger, and he probably almost set his whole entire house on fire. So a neighbor in the back of the house actually caught some important CCTV footage on their Ring camera where you could see the back of the Halderson residence, and you could see this tiny window. Well, it's not even a tiny window. It's a regular sized window, and you could see the fire getting bigger and bigger and bigger in the CCTV footage, and it's because of the fat melting and all this stuff. And at one point, the fire gets to such a blaze, like he had to use water, all this crazy stuff, to try to extinguish the flames. And he did get as much of his parents in there as he could, but he still had remnants of them that he had to figure out what he was going to do. So the next day, you know, that whole stuff happens with Kat, but even before that in the morning, he gets up and he goes to like a local gas station, and all of a sudden, you know, Chandler doesn't have a neck brace on. Chandler, who couldn't really even walk that well or pick things up, is looking fine and dandy in CCTV footage of the gas station where he purchases 2 big bags of ice to keep his dad's body chilled and his mom's body chilled. So he's a big liar. He's a phony, okay? So yeah, that's what happens there. And then fast forward to Kat coming over, smelling whatever. The neighbors would later report that they smelled, like, if you've ever been to a pig roast, I know this is really grotesque, disgusting information, but it's true. If you've ever been to a pig roast, or you've ever had somebody barbecue a pork shoulder, that smell is allegedly what a human smells like when they are being burned. Didn't need that. Sorry I gave it to you, but this is what's all in the trial that's being covered. So it's kind of important to know if you want to understand this case. So yeah. So there's that. Ugh, I want to throw up. So yeah, there's that. Not good. So that night, you know, Kat spends the night. Who knows what happens? Typical boyfriend-girlfriend stuff probably happens. And he's just like, okay, tomorrow, like, you can go home and you could come back the next night and sleep over. So of course Kat finds this weird, but you know, she's been with her boyfriend for 2 years. Maybe he's just having a moment, like, who knows? He's being a little strange with that. Like, why wouldn't she just spend all the consecutive nights over there. Why would she have to go home like one day and come back that night? Bizarre. But whatever. She doesn't really think too much about it, but it definitely crosses her mind that something's like weird. So, needless to say, he tries to dispose of his parents' body at one point. So, for some reason, Kat decided to look at her Snapchat location. You know, if you have Snapchat, you can look on the map or whatever to see where people are if they have their locations enabled. And she did that, and she saw her boyfriend happen to be in a forest off the banks of the Wisconsin River. Weird. So she screenshotted that and just kept it. I don't know if she was planning on acting on that or asking him, like, hey, where were you? Like, did you lie to me? So they're talking and everything, and Chandler says, you know, like, the pool's probably really good for me to get rehabilitated, like, get back into my movements and all that stuff, and, like, maybe I can learn how to move certain ways, and this could be a real help. So Dulce's like, of course, the farm is yours whenever you want it. Like, I would love to have you here. If you ever want to go swimming in the pool, just let me know, like, you know, and that's fine. So I guess she didn't think he was going to take this and run with it, because he does. So the day after 4th of July, July 5th, he goes to a doctor's appointment, so he says, and he ends up at Kat's house. Kat's not home, just her mom is. And he, like, knocks on the door, and she's like, oh, Chandler, hi. Like, is Kat expecting you? She's not home. He's like, no, I was just wondering if I could take up that offer on using the pool. All that stuff. So she's like, yeah, of course, like, no problem. But a part of her is like, you know, I didn't really think he was going to take up the offer. But she's a nice lady, so of course she welcomes him with open arms. And he's just like, yeah, so I went to my doctor's appointment this morning, and it's not looking good. It doesn't sound too good. And she's like, oh, no, what happened? And he's like, well, you know, SpaceX is telling me, like, I can't travel with the injury I have, and I can't work with them, so they're not going to be able to take me on anymore. And she's like, oh, no, like, you know, you guys were so excited to go, all this stuff. You know, maybe we could break it to Catherine together, what have you. And he's just like, yeah. And she's like, all right, honey, well, you use the pool, whatever. She gives him his space. Goes inside, figures she'll check up on him in a few minutes. So, like, 20 minutes go by. She's like, all right, I should go check on him. But when she goes outside, he's not in the pool. And she's like, where is he? Like, that's weird. He's here to use the pool. And she looks, and she sees his car is still parked in the same spot by this oil, like, empty oil barrel or oil rig. And she's like, I wonder where he is. So she's kind of, like, looking around. And then all of a sudden, in the far corner of the property, she sees him coming out of the woods. She's like, well, that's weird. And he's wearing, like, baseball hat, backpack. Now, like I said, like, they have a lot of property. Like, this land is acres and acres big. So he's coming back, and she's like, oh, Chandler, where did you go? I thought you were going to use the pool. And he's like, yeah, you know, like, I'm just really upset about everything, and I don't think I'm going to use the pool anymore. I'm sorry. I just needed to take a walk. She's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's fine. So, whatever. He ends up leaving. And she noticed, like, some interesting animal activity that day. They never had vultures fly around, like, the property. And sure enough, that day there were vultures. So she's kind of like, well, that's weird. And she took note of it. Not thinking that it had anything to do with Chandler, but she noticed it. So, yeah. So now we're at the 5th, 6th, 6th time period, and Kat's getting nervous. She's like, didn't you say your parents were going to be coming home, like, late on the night of the 4th? They're coming home early on the 5th, and they're still not home. Like, is everything okay? Have you talked to them? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard from them. The last text I got from my mom was on the 4th of July. Oh, not on the 4th of July, I'm lying. It was on the day they got to the cabin, and they said, like, on the 4th of July, they were going to go to a parade in town, all this stuff. So she's like, well, that's weird. Like, like, aren't you nervous? And, yeah, so that's the 6th and everything. So by the 7th, they have him convinced that he should go to the police. So he does. He doesn't call the police. He goes there in person and says, like, I want to report my mom and dad missing. Now, the cops are like, missing? Like, oh, that's weird. Okay, like, let's hear it. Like, what's the story? Now, hearing who he is, he sounds like a pretty, reputable source. He sounds like a good kid, a good college kid. We should take this seriously. Like, kids his age wouldn't really worry if there was nothing to worry about. So they're like, okay, when was the last time you heard from your mom and dad? And he says, like, you know, the same thing he told Kat with the text message and shows them. So they're like, okay, no problem. So, yeah. That's the 7th of July. The police are like, okay, let's go up to this cabin, see if we can find them. Do you know what friends they were with? And he's like, no, actually, I don't know what friends they were with, but I know their friends picked them up. Their cars are in our garage. Like, they didn't take the cars. So, yeah, I just don't know what friends. And they're like, interesting. So that's weird. So he's like, I also helped them pack and everything. They took a lot of money with them. They packed a lot of alcohol, and I know my mom just got skin cancer, so I know she's a little upset about that. So that could be why, like, that's just like a not normal occurrence and everything for her to drink that much, but you know. So turns out there's some casino nearby, so maybe it's that. Who knows? So the police go there, and needless to say, they show up to the cabin. It has not been taken care of. It doesn't look like it's ready for the season at all. They go inside. There's no food in the refrigerator. There's no luggage or anything like that. No cars. So he's like, not he, but they're like, what the hell? Okay, this is weird. Maybe they got into a car accident. So they're looking through the area to see if there's any accidents or anything like that. And there's not. Okay, like, this is strange. So, of course, you gotta start, like, honing in to the people who last spoke to the said missing people. Of course, that would be, like, Catherine, and it would be Chandler, because he was the last one to have communication, and she's been with him this whole weekend, so you gotta concentrate on these two, of course. And they contact the brother hasn't seen them, like, the parents, whatever. So now they're gonna start looking at Chandler. And Chandler, I guess, thinks he's smart, or it's either he thinks he's super smart, and he was really naive and just dumb, or, like, he just didn't try hard enough to, like, evade police or police's suspicion, because I'm telling you, there's so much evidence this kid, like, did not do a good job at all. And you'll understand why, but basically police start, like, investigating more and more. They're asking people who know Chandler. By all accounts, he seems like a good kid, pretty successful as far as they know, and yeah, all those good things. And then things start getting a little strange, because now they want Catherine and they want Chandler to come into the station and give them a statement. And you've got Chandler, who's cool as a cucumber and is, like, fine, and giving them the same exact story he's been giving them. And then you've got Catherine, because obviously they're, like, separated, and Kat's, like, vomiting information to the police, like, legitimately vomiting, because she's so upset. She's like, oh my god, my boyfriend's parents are missing. Like, it becomes very clear to police that she has no involvement at all. Like, she seriously is genuinely concerned. So yeah, she's giving them all this information, and then something sticks out to them. This screenshot that she took of Snapchat. So they see this Snapchat from, well, the Snapchat screenshot, and they're like, well, that's weird. Very strange. And then they're talking to Dulce, the mom, and the mom's explaining what's going on. So now we're going into July 8th at this point, and they go to Catherine and Dulce's property, and they're looking. They looked through stuff, like, as much stuff as they could at Chandler's home and everything, as much as he would, oh my god, I'm out of breath. COVID. I'm out of breath from talking. Oh my god. Bear with me. Whew. Kind of just winded me. I'm sorry. So, yeah, they go to the property for Kat and Dulce, and they're kind of looking around, and they already looked at whatever they could look at Chandler's house, and sure enough, they go to the area where Dulce saw the vultures and saw Chandler come out from, and she said, you know, he was acting really suspicious that day. I don't know what that was about, but I know he went back there. And now, mind you, Chandler's back in his neighborhood while police are investigating Kat's property. And he's in the neighborhood going house to house, asking if any of his neighbors have any footage that he could see that might help him identify the car that they were picked up in, where they went, all this stuff. And neighbors are kind of like, okay, this kid's, like, freaky. Like, they just know right off the bat something's weird. And then you've got some retired police officers in the neighborhood who notice the smell who realized some of their neighbors were missing, and now you've got this weird kid coming around. Like, people were starting to put two and two together. Something's completely not okay. Like, it's a lot darker on this neighborhood than we thought. Like, something disturbing is happening here. So all that's happening. Police are at the property for Catherine, and sure enough, they go into the woods where Chandler was, and they find Bart Halderson. What's left of him? They find a torso. Okay, his torso and lower half, probably like right below the butt area, no arms, no head, not good. Horrible, horrible discovery. So they keep looking, and sure enough, in the oil barrel where he was parked, they look inside of it, one of the detectives, and she finds the handsaws and a pair of scissors. And they would send it in the lab for DNA analysis, and sure enough, it had the flesh and blood of KRISTA and Bart Halderson. Piece of crap. Like, how could you do that? How could you plant that stuff? Like, I mean, regardless, how could you do what you did to your parents? But on top of that, dispose of that on your girlfriend's property. Your girlfriend of 2 years, you know her family, you've been with her family, like, they've offered so many things to you. When you told her mom you were getting a job at SpaceX, she took you out to dinner, like, all these great things, and this is what he does? Hides his father's remains there? Like, no, like, that's just so messed up. And over the course of months, they would end up finding more evidence, and I'll get to that later. So, police also are figuring out a few other things. They know that, Chandler had a friend named Andrew come and visit back in June, and, you know, Chandler doesn't really have a job, so what was he doing all day? He was playing video games with people across seas and everything who were on at the weird hours he was on that normal people usually work during. So he ended up becoming friends with an American soldier stationed in Germany. His name was Andrew, and Andrew came to visit. They hung out, and he brought a gift for Chandler. He brought him a foreign assault rifle and ammo. Shit. So he left that with his friend as a gift. That's where the gun comes from that he shot his dad with. And, you know, they put two and two together, figure out Andrew's alibi. They know Andrew has nothing to do with the situation. He was in Texas. There's no way, like, his alibi is concrete. Like, but he did give this gun to Chandler, and the torso they found that they think is Bart has gunshot wounds in the back. So they're starting to figure out, like, everything. It's coming together. So while Chandler's back in his neighborhood, he's realizing a lot more police presence, and he's getting paranoid. So what does the idiot do? He goes on his phone and he starts Googling, you know, dismembered body found in Wisconsin, or woman dead found in Wisconsin. Like, all this weird shit. Because I guess he was like, oh my God, did they find something and they're lying to me? Because he was calling the police and was like, hey guys, did you find something and you're not telling me? Like, I deserve to know. These are my parents. Did you find something? So police are like, oh my God, this kid is guilty. So, you know, they get that Snapchat screenshot from Kat, and they go to the location, and it's right on the banks of the Wisconsin River, and sure enough, they find a leg with a foot attached, a detached foot, a thigh, and they believe they found KRISTA. You know, sure enough, they would be able to identify that it was indeed KRISTA. He dumped his mom there. And even stranger than that, they had been talking to some of Chandler's friends, have been seeing photographs on social media, and they realized there's this one picture of Chandler hanging out in a tree right by a river. Well, turned out that was like his favorite tree to climb. He was sending Snapchats to his friends. And that was one of his favorite, like, hidden spots to go swimming in the summers and all that. And that's where he dumped his mom. I just can't. It's really not okay. So, ooh, yeah, these are difficult, very difficult situation. Whew. So yeah, that's what happens there. So now they find Bart, they find KRISTA. They know that this kid is so guilty, and the kid has let them go in the house, and sure enough, they were able to discover that there was a significant amount of blood. Like, you know, they used the light, luminol? Yeah. And that freaking house was bright blue, okay? And then they're finding other things. It turns out he, like, threw out a tarp that was covered in blood and everything in Kat's garbage cans that were outside, and some other tissues and stuff. and it was wrapped in the Target bag that she got, like, the hydrogen peroxide and the Swiffer stuff in. Like, it's just so messed up. So he was disposing of this crap on her property. Like, I guess he was just hoping, like, it would be harder to locate these items, and he was hoping that the garbage would come and pick them up, which there were things that he apparently threw out that did go to the landfill nearby and had already, been lost, and police, like, could not recover it. There was no way. With the landfill that we're talking about, it just would have been impossible. And then allegedly he threw stuff into the river where he dumped his mom. So there's a lot of stuff that has not been recovered because the currents are crazy and crazy dangerous. Speaking of currents, there's one other thing I forgot to mention. This kid had people believing that he was working for Madison County on the dive team, like, with police. Like, he was law enforcement, like, scuba diver. Turns out Madison County doesn't have that type of department, so when police looked that up, that was just another lie they found. So yeah, police were on, like, they were already on to him. Like, they did a very quick investigation. Like, this was lightning. They found out on the 7th. By the evening of the 8th, they booked him and they arrested him. And they already told him, like, they were in the interrogation room. They're like, it's time for you to come clean. We already know what you did. Like, you might as well stop lying. And, he's still lying to them, saying, no, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Definitely looked like he was going to throw up in that interrogation room, I'll tell you that. And I would have. So yeah, that's pretty much Chandler's story. And right now, what we think happened is that he killed his parents because they figured him out. And why would you kill your parents over lies? I don't know. Like, it's just crazy. Like, every time one lie was about to, like, hit the fan, he'd come up with a bigger lie, then a bigger lie, and a bigger lie. And it just came to the point where he could not cover them up. He got overwhelmed and for some reason thought killing his parents was the way out. Like, clearly this kid's got something not right with him. And I keep saying kid. He's not a kid. I keep saying kid because he's younger than me. He's like 23 at the time. I'm 26. He's not a kid. He's a god dang man. Like, you're a man and you're acting like a... I'm not even going to say it because I don't want my this episode to get demonetized. But I digress. Now, there is so much information I'm leaving out because there is so much evidence found, so much recovered. They would end up finding the assault rifle at Kat's farm, like at her mom's farm. Like, it was leaning up against the barn. Her mom, Dulce, was cleaning up the barn and found, like, a bunch of boards, and behind the boards leaning up against the barn was the rifle. These poor people, like, they have this beautiful property that is just wildflowers, animals, peace, the wind, and now it's tainted by him and what he did to his poor parents. Now, a lot of people have questions, like, how did this kid become this way? Like, how did this manifest into what it is? And then you've got Mitchell, who's successful and is doing fine. Like, how did this happen? I've got a couple of theories, and one of them is I feel like he probably was living in the shadow of his very successful brother, and he felt he couldn't do anything right and had his own insecurities, and then it manifested into lying to try to compensate for the things he didn't have in life. And then it's so complex. Like, I'd have to actually sit down and break this down. So you know what? We'll wait. Maybe I'll do a follow-up episode because this trial is underway right now. He requested a speedy trial. So that's why this all happened in July of 2021 and it's going through trial now. Usually trials, like, take forever, like, to happen. Like the Tristan Bailey and Aiden Fucci trial. Like, she was murdered in May of 2021 and we are probably not going to have her trial. Well, his trial until October of 2022 if we're lucky. That's because they denied a speedy trial, whereas these guys, Chandler, said, yeah, I want a speedy trial. I'm not guilty. He was arrested for the murder and, like, dismemberment and unlawful dumping of a body or corpse or whatever the heck the technical terms are. But yeah, so he was like, no, not guilty. The evidence is overwhelming, guy, but we'll see what happens in court. He just got COVID, so they had to postpone, like, the whole trial. I highly suggest you watch it. It's on YouTube. You can, like, watch from day one till whatever day they got up to. There is so much information. It is just the craziest case I've heard in a long, long freaking time. And it's just like very entertaining if you like, I hate to say that because this is somebody's life, but like if you like learning about the law and watching court and all that stuff like I do because I'm a nerd, you'll probably really enjoy watching this trial. Mind you, I do it for educational purposes because I hope to work in the realm of forensics one day. But if that's something that you're interested in, I would totally watch the trial that's on YouTube. And I feel just so awful for everybody that's involved. Like his poor brother, his poor girlfriend, she breaks down on the stand and God help her, like, Jesus, you think you know a person. And this just goes to show it's a common theme in all my podcast episodes, and it's a common theme in some of the YouTube videos I have posted in the past. But you never truly know a person, okay? You can be married to somebody your whole life and never truly know that one part of their brain, okay? Like, it's scary. So please, people, proceed with caution and trust nobody. I hate to say that. You could trust me. But seriously, like, be very careful out there because people are so complex. Like, even the most, like, stupid or ditzy people or people who don't seem to have much depth to them, they do. And they're damn complex. So, yeah, be very careful. But I'm going to keep covering this. I mean, this started off as me writing a blog post on crimeghoul.com, which is my blogging site, if you want to check that out. And I wrote all about this, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to just write about it. I want to talk about it. Like, this is freaking nuts. Like, I need to talk to somebody. I need somebody to listen to me. And I'm bored and cooped up in the house with COVID, which, mind you, I'm feeling so much better. Some of you are probably like, you got COVID? What? Yeah, no, I do. I was not feeling well the last few days at all. Today is the first day where I'm starting to feel normal, except I do get waves of exhaustion. And as you guys saw before, I was having like a shortness of breath like randomly, and I have to take like deeper breaths. But you know what? I'm so lucky. I'll take what I've gotten from COVID. And Rona, you could leave me, honey. You could go. You did what you needed to with me, and I'm done with you. So, with that being said, that is my crazy, chaotic summary of Chandler Halderson. I'm sure many other people will do much better at explaining this trial and case to you, but I wanted to talk about it. So again, this is my channel where I do what I want. And yeah, so that's it, guys. I hope you liked it. I want to get my glasses because it makes me feel funny. But I hope you liked this episode, and you can expect to see more. So if you didn't like it, if you don't like my glasses, if you don't, I don't care. No, if you don't like my glasses, you don't like my wackiness, then you probably shouldn't come back. I know that these topics are really dark and really, like, if you get lost in some of these cases, like, you get lost. And I think you got to make light of life in some way, and that's what I tend to do on my own, in my own quirky type of way. Like, this is what I do to soothe, to cope with this very difficult subject matter. And for all you true crimers, you got to make it lighthearted. Y'all know that. You know, like, watching too much of the stuff could really get to you. Learning about the stuff could really get to you. Reading about it, which I do. So you got to find a happy medium, and this is my happy medium. So if you don't like it, scram. No, it's okay. It's okay if you don't like it. Everybody's got an opinion. Just some of us have better opinions than others. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. Please tune in for my episode of DIEHL. That is the bonus episode for my podcast, Crime Ghoul. You can watch me on Spotify. You could listen to me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I do have a bonus episode this week, and it's about DIEHL. If you guys don't know who he is an 18-year-old who went missing. Important, okay, this is important. This is a very crazy case that I have never heard of. Did not get enough media coverage at all. One of my listeners suggested I cover the case, and I fell down the rabbit hole. So I will be talking to you about that on my podcast, Crime Ghoul. You can follow me on Instagram at CrimeGhoul_. You can find me on Facebook or Twitter by searching Crime Ghoul. You'll find me. So yeah, if you want to come chat, you want to tell me about a case you heard of, you want to tell me how bad of a job I'm doing or how great of a job I'm doing, you can do that. That's great. I want to talk. I want to talk. I want to make friends. I want to make true crime friends. Yeah. So I hope to see you guys back here on YouTube soon. If you haven't already, click the like button, subscribe, please. Share this video with a friend. It is a free way of helping me out. And if you're listening to my podcast, any episodes, please go leave me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. And now on Spotify, you can rate me as well. Please leave a 5-star rating on Spotify. It really helps me and helps me with the whole podcast algorithm, and I really want people to hear what I have to say because I think I could add something to this crime community, and I got lots to say, let's face it. I don't shut up and I don't know when to end my videos or episodes. I guess I should do that now. So yeah, thank you. I hope to see you guys soon. Mwah. Stay safe. Remember, you never know a person. Be very careful.